I'm that girl who is excited to talk to you once again. And my goodness, isn't it fantastic for humanity who sort of seems a little bit obsessed with beauty being only exterior? That thank goodness we've been saved by Visor once again, and now they have released a product that can help with any hair loss. Fantastic, because again, once they don't want to actually heal the root cause. It's not a pun, a root cause of any issues, truly. Right? We want to feed up your materialism and make you compare yourselves and make you feel better than or worse than these big celebrities who have got an abundance of wealth and opportunities to have as much fillers and all sorts of bits and pieces to make them look beautiful, naturally beautiful. So it's really interesting what is happening. Of course, I've only heard rumors that there is now an alopecia treatment. Perfect timing. So there's that. Woo, so fascinating, isn't it? So not that many people want to know the metaphysical reason of what their bodies are saying to them. I want to run to someone else to be able to give them an opinion about what's happening to their bodies. And then if we could have a fast, easy, simple pill that will fix the problem, lickety split, fantastic for us, right? That's how we sort of work, I think. That's how most people sort of assume they'll do something. I've seen in a lot of spiritual forums, people talking about very obvious medical issues, and thank goodness their doctors have prescribed them X, Y, and Z. And I just think, where is your spirituality? Oh, that's right. It's a hobby spirituality, isn't it? It's not a real inclusive of your entire life and thoughts and processes and perspectives. It is just sometimes in the weekends, and that's fine. But it's always interesting when you see where people are trying to fit in all their belief systems. They're cramming in their 3D and all of the coercion and the manipulation that they've always been given, and other things that kind of feels like different pieces to the puzzle. So there's that. And it's fantastic times as we're all exploring this. And my goodness, I got so much responses about people's personal experiences with their own version of a swindler, whether it's ex-husbands, people at varsity, and a whole lot of, just our life's experiences, right? We have been in training to overcome certain things and empower ourselves. So, we know our intuition. We should know our intuition the most and the best. And it's so interesting when, even just yesterday, I was doing a session with a practitioner, and she was pretty disappointed to hear that some influences that she has loved listening to and growing in her spiritualism, to sort of feel suddenly that she's hearing our conversations with heaven on earth, and she's listening to other influences, and they don't quite meet up. And so she thought, I'm going to use my session wisely, which I thought was fantastic. And she's going to explore certain influences that she has listened to and really wants to just love and adore them. But there is something that's kind of like an ulcer in her mouth. And she's kind of like, this is not resonating with me anymore. And it's sort of ticking me off, because it's like, I want to just go all in with them, believe them fully. And yet I've heard something else. And so, when you have different information, when you have conversations with heaven on earth, and then you have something else, where do you just go, I don't know any of it, I'll just agree to all of it, I'll accept all of it? That's a choice. Or you could go and have your own session. Interns are free. I know that was a shock for me to say that. I know, like, spoiler alert, interns are free. And please, when you have your sessions, trust your subconscious. Don't do what I know a few people do. They have profound sessions after profound sessions after profound sessions, and then dismiss what their subconscious said to them, because they're still paying for an influencer to give them their ego-based nonsense. That is very, very interesting. and then dismiss all of their own quantum sessions where they channeled their subconscious and go with some other person's ego and perception. It's very challenging, isn't it? It's easier to dismiss what we hear in our own sessions, right? No, that's a lot of hard work to dismiss your own information from your own sessions. And I have seen it many times, and it's always been an interesting choice for those people who do that. And that is fine, but then they stumble quite hard. And you know, they have the free will to take their own journey, but it's kind of like they're asking the subconscious, what is the most direct, easiest journey for me that's going to empower me the most? And the subconscious will say that, and then the client's like, right, got that suggestion. I'm going to do the literal opposite just to make sure I go extreme hard level, which on an extreme hard level 3D planet already is quite a bold choice. And, you know, that's all fine. It's very interesting, but it's all fine at the same time. Certainly not my choice, but that has been my choice in a few steps along my journey, that's for sure. So, you know, I'm not innocent to struggle harder than I should have, but when I've overcome all of that and fully respected what my subconscious says, you know, it's much easier for everyone. And I can feel the subconscious saying, yes, yes. So there's that. So interesting thing that happened to me the other day. So I'm doing a session with this fantastic woman that I love, just completely love and adore her. And, you know, I was doing the session, and as I was listening to her, for some reason, when she was going through some regressions, I suddenly felt really chilly, really, really chilly. Like my shoulders felt really cold, and I just started having to mute myself because I was starting to sneeze, and I was just like, F-U-C-K. I've got something from the kids or, oh, fantastic. This is my time to shine with my, finally, I'm going to get this pandemic in this body. No. So I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And so as we explored the session more, it was just really fascinating, really, really, really fascinating. So this was my second session with her. And lo and behold, what we discovered is that she was on an ice planet, and she was helping assist the density of that planet. And as we have discussed many times in sessions, I've had lots of clients where living their best lives on their certain planets, and then something is misaligned, or there is too much war, or something happens, and that planet needs to be quickly evacuated, and it doesn't work out well. So, you know, there is ones that have worked out well, and they've just been able to take a little portion of those beings off that planet. But, you know, this is a big thing. And it seems like there's, I don't know if I want to say specialists, but that's what they gave me, specialists. There seems to be a group of specialists that come in, and they've done this multiple times, right? They've come in to help assist planets at really significant times in the planet's evolution, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, the species is important, that's on the planet, but we can tell when we're surveying these planets, the health of the planets. And I don't know if you remember one session that's public, but has been confirmed in many private sessions, that when they're energetically looking at planets, they can see the overall health of the planet, determining the glow of it and the density of the color. And so they can just scan through all these planets and just see some denser, darker colors, which doesn't, you know, that gets them the most attention. So, you know, I'm having this session with this client and helping her work through what was the most important thing that her subconscious wanted to know. Well, I'm noticing, you know, I'm starting to feel it's a little bit off. And, you know, surprise, surprise, it turns out that she was on an ice planet, working on an ice planet. And I'm a little bit slow sometimes. So when I'm supporting my client who is in a different country, and I'm sitting here in my, you know, best 3D meat suit, you know, I'm listening to this, and I'm starting to have something that was quite irrelevant to what I was listening to. And so it's really interesting. And then lo and behold, as lo and behold, as I was questioning more, and when I started calling in the subconscious and started learning about this and hearing about this, because she had some questions about what was going on there, we discovered that I actually was in that lifetime with her. And, we got to explore a little bit of that, which was fascinating, quite unexpected to suddenly realize that, oh, this is the reason why we feel so connected and so profoundly just in love with each other in terms of respect and mutual appreciation at a really advanced level, which is just perfect at this time, right? Perfect at this time that we deserve these connections now. And it just feels like there's so many more soul families that are coming and profoundly just presenting themselves. We're just finding each other, and I hope that all of you are also finding similar matches to support you in this really important time. So sometimes it's it's amazing how these things work. So anyway, it wasn't until after the session when I was reflecting back on, oh gosh, like my role there and how I was trying to negotiate with this planet to be able to help assist these people trust and get off this planet. But unfortunately, the negotiations didn't work because they were just so addicted to density that, we lost our lives on that planet. And so, that's what's happened, and that is all fine. But as I reflect back on my role and purpose in that lifetime, which I'd never even heard of before, and then processing what's happening to my body now, I realize I'm actually healing from that trauma. So this is what half a cold sounds like and feels like, yay. But my body is releasing the trauma of being buried alive in an avalanche of sand on a frozen planet. Yay. So there's that. And it's good. I can release it, but it's so interesting because when we discussed it again, as we were both getting our bearings of the information, she had to confess to me that she feels quite guilty that she abandoned us because she went back to her home planet. And I don't feel like she abandoned us at all, but she still has this guilt. And that's not a fun. Guilt's out of trend right now. So just, dump it. All parent guilt, dump it. All choices that have given you and provided you guilt, forget about it. Let it go. We've learned from that. When we have those feelings of sickening guilt, we've all been there, right? We've all done something that we're like, oh my gosh, I should never have done that. Guilt is a really good lesson reminder. So anytime let's just think about it now. When have we felt guilty in our lives? And let's explore that. What were we doing? Because it's really our conscious, our moral compass, poking us. And, and we must unpack that. Were we just playing the role to be devil's advocate to help assist with them growing, or did we do something that we knew was self-serving and was going to impact others or something else? So guilt, explore it today in your own time, in your own leisure. And so anyway, it was so interesting because when I was hearing her go through this terrible bout of guilt that she had, because she was the leader and, left some people behind. But I did not feel like I had abandonment issues with that interaction at all. And I just was like, oh gosh, I can understand how she's feeling like that, she can release that because, when planets go, and we're not responsible for people's choices, and we're not responsible for the reactions of a planet departing and having exit points. So there's that. So anyway, but it was so interesting because when she was talking about it, it triggered me into a time in my life where I did feel abandoned. And it was like, wow, I've already had that experience of feeling, because she's like, oh, I feel so bad that I abandoned people. That was her perception of what happened, right? So regardless of whether she truly abandoned us or not, I don't think she did, but that's her she's wanting to take that and feel all of that, to purge that and release that and grow from it and heal from it. And for me, listening back to it, it was like, no, I don't feel abandoned. But then I did recall that in my life, I had an experience where I was feeling very abandoned, and I have grown from that, healed from that, and overcome that. And it was quite a big time in my life for that experience. And so I just wondered, oh, maybe I did, but then wanted to overcome that really quickly in my lifetime. So that's when it came into, that was when it was presented to me in my childhood. And so maybe this is something that I knew I had from another lifetime, and I wanted to purge and heal and experience it to empower me this lifetime, so I could heal from it to then, get back in alignment. So it's all interesting, isn't it? But what just, it's just so profound when we listen to other people's sessions. And now, because I was a part of that experience, my body and my soul is having reactions from that trauma, right? And it looks like a very mild cold. And it's so interesting to remind myself, I just needed to hear about that to then be able to go, well, I'm not holding on to any emotional trigger. I'm not triggered emotionally at all. My body is releasing and purging something that happened, who knows how many other lifetimes ago, right? So, it's we've been busy. So it's very interesting. So it reminded me of the significance of listening to other people's sessions, because I feel like even if you didn't drown in, say, Atlantis, for example, but if you did drown in another drowning, would you heal from that at that time that you listened to it? And so, I know a book that a practitioner had written about Atlantis and Lemuria, and when they were just simply going to read that book, they would be healed from those lifetimes of the tidal waves. And I just thought, isn't that profound? But that, again, they are connected in because that was part of their lives. They had that experience of being in the flooding. And so what triggers them to remember it and to heal from it and grow from it? This whole conversation and just this whole line of thought. And it's just, we mustn't forget the power of these sessions in terms of when we call in all of the collectives to be able to heal. For example, I'm not too sure why they're bringing this up again now, but the Witch Collective, for example, or the Horse Collective, or the Whale Collectives, and we can profoundly heal in these sessions. And this is why it's such extraordinary work, and this is why we really should be focusing on these sessions the most, versus paying for someone's ego who is what do they call themselves now? Princess, priestesses, unicorn, fairy, golden dust. You can spot the bullshit con artists, right? Because they're still trying to hold fame and glory of other pastime lives that they're claiming to have. And a lot of people who don't want to be exposed as frauds don't want to have sessions. Okay, so, and they definitely don't want to share those sessions with you because they are not wanting to truly, honestly share. And it was a really interesting experience that I had the other day where this really struck a chord with me. So the client experienced being in prison for murder. Right, so they were in prison for murdering. And so if some lazy channeler or medium or whatever picked up that information, oh, I see that you were in prison for murder, you would sort of just assume that you deserve a really shit life this lifetime for karma and blah, 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 blah. And so as we explored the session, and I asked the subconscious, tell me about the cause of the reason why they were in prison. Was this a life contract? And to do the murder, because that's what I assumed. So, I asked the subconscious, tell me more about this. And the subconscious was very firm. Oh, no, they were accused of murder. They did not murder. And I thought, well, that's quite a big difference, isn't it? Which then would lead you to think that the client then would have a really heightened sense of injustice. When you're in prison falsely, that can make you bitter, I'm assuming. And so there's that. So it's really important that the practitioners really unpack all of the information that's given in sessions to be able to really help the client. Because if I just was like, oh, judgy, yuck, you're a murderer in another lifetime, ew, and just assumed that because I didn't want to hear the gruesome details, or if it was a life contract, or if I didn't want to explore that, because I had a choice as a practitioner, do I want to find out actually what's going on there, or don't want to talk about murder, because I'm going to judge this person in that lifetime for murdering someone, it was innocent, blah 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 blah. How is that going to help my client? So it was all really interesting. So this is why it's super important to not only have the regression part of the sessions where you're showing different lifetimes that are the most appropriate, that your subconscious believes is the most appropriate for you. It's also really important to be able to then talk to the subconscious and be able to unpack everything that's going on for you and why. It's very, very, very fascinating what the subconscious wants to share with us at this important time. And, they're always so loving and supportive, but they also will notice our bad habits potentially that aren't serving us. And so they always say it with kind, loving hearts and with loving wisdom. And I think a lot of people confuse spirituality with religion in many ways. And yes, our higher dimensional beings love us, absolutely love us, but they don't always love our choices that we do for ourselves or that we do for others. And so, they want us to be the best versions of self. So if we're kind of being little douchebags, and we talk to the subconscious, and the subconscious will call us out on being little douchebags. And a lot of people who have had that think they're not loving, they're not kind, they're wanting me to be a better person. Like, they shouldn't judge me. They should just respect who I am and my choices. And they do respect your choices to a degree, but when you know better, and when you're really slowing down your own growth, and when you're really kind of part of a problem, that's when they sort of have a problem. And lots of people say, well, this is why I love my religion, because my God's always loving. And I say, well, yeah, they're really loving to us because they put up with a lot of our shit. And, they are supporting us constantly as we are slowly deciding whether we want to make choices that empower us or not. And, often is the case that we don't follow on with that. So there's that. And then there's this other thing that was brought to my attention, which I kind of find almost amusing. So obviously I'm still working through this, which is in a passionate passage in the Bible. It says, we must forgive each other. And so if someone comes and does something to me one day that is, so shocking that I'd have to really forgive them because it was something really grievous that they did to me, I'd forgive them. And then in the Bible, it sort of says you must be able to forgive someone even if they do the same mistake 7 times to you in one day. Now, what kind of person would make the same mistake 7 times and still expect to be forgiven? So do you go around just living your best life, not caring how you treat others and demanding that you're entitled to have profound love to everyone must love and adore you, all of your behaviors? And then if someone has the audacity to be like, look, you're not actually respecting me, what is this behavior that you're doing, because you're not empowering yourself and you're certainly not empowering me, then do they just do whatever they want? And then when they get called out, they just know all they have to say and do is, oh, I'm really sorry you feel like that. And so, that's an apology that you must forgive and, accept everything that they've done, even though they're going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. They have just got this free license to say, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And that they don't need to change their behaviors or attitudes, but they're demanding that you ultimately love them, adore them, empower them, do everything for them, while they choose to have really shitty behavior. And yet, you know, when they get called out on it, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to keep repeating it. And then how dare you call me out on my crap? So it's really interesting how people want to behave. Really interesting. Because it really limits them when they've got this belief system that they have got reign to do anything, and just a simple apology if they get caught out by anyone that's bold enough to stand up to them. Whew, wow, you know, cool, I don't care. Call me out. I will say a fake sorry, and then you have to forgive me for the next thing I'm going to do and the continual next things I'm going to do just to fuck with you. So there's that. So yeah, I can imagine why people love religion for that, because that's almost like a get out of jail free card. And then if you're really called out on something really big and extraordinary that you choose to do with your free will and choices, and it makes you look like a super douchebag that you are doing and choosing this behavior, then you've got the big trump card, which is the devil made me do it. That's a winner in the religious circles, right? Oh, well, you're a victim to that. Oh, no, that wasn't your choices. That was definitely the devil that made you do that, because you're a charitable person. You are so kind and loving, because you have this veneer fake life that you present yourselves with. So there's that, my friends. And I'd love to say that all of you don't know what I'm talking about, but in reality, we've all experienced someone very similar to that. So, interesting times. So getting back to our physical body, healing from trauma from other lifetimes, isn't that a luxury? And lots of people worry what's happening to their bodies because they're feeling very interesting right now, very electrical. The appetites have dropped, the sleeping has dropped, a whole lot of changes are happening, and we don't need to worry about a damn thing because we know that all is well. And so notice what's happening to your body and respect it. That is my best opinion in general. But of course, if you would like more specific information, interns are free. It's a choice that I keep saying that, isn't it? So anyway, I trust all is well for you, and that you are unpacking all of your own personal experiences. And I'm trusting that you're all making your fantastic lists for your own sessions. And even if you have had a session recently or in the past, what say you still write a new list? And what is the things that you would still want to ask your subconscious if you had a session while you're waiting for your sessions to occur in the future? So what is really still going on for you? What is the biggest information or biggest questions or biggest concepts or purposes or significances that you're still trying to understand? Because yesterday it seemed like it was a huge day for epiphanies, and it was very exciting. And so what's next for you? What are you still pondering on? What is still going on in your life that you're still sort of thinking, what the F is the significance here? Because just simply asking these questions to ourselves usually gives our teams more access to be able to give us bigger information and give us the senses of potentially the purposes of it. And is this a lesson for you? Or is this a lesson for other people? And what's going on there? Explore, be very curious, lots of questions to be given to yourselves, as you deserve the information. So much love to you, my friends. Enjoy lots of water, lots of good salts in your diets, and lots of grounding, lots of being outside if you can, lots of just slowing down your breath and noticing the breath coming in and out as you just stop your busy minds, as you just focus and center into self. And as soon as you can just focus on breath, the slowness of inhaling and the gentle grace of exhaling. And even if you just did that for a few times, you just notice the natural breath, that would really bring a lot of us into a center. And you can do that really quickly. If you're noticing you're walking around and doing big exhales for no reason, oh gosh, I did that again, kind of thing, right? So this was happening to me and quite a few other people, that we were just a bit breathing out quite big exhales. And it's strange because we're not holding our breath, but it's like we're trying to release all the pressure that's been put everywhere around us at the time. So noticing what actually is going on with your body, because we're trying to equalize the pressure that everyone's experiencing as we are ramping up this higher frequency that we will all be marinated in. So fantastic times. Love yourselves, truly honor yourselves, and enjoy what the day brings. I say this with much love.